Hi YouTube, I'm Caitlin Flavelle. I'm 17 years old. I'm a senior going in the high school. Today I'll be exposing the truth behind Matthew Flavelle and Roselou Flavelle. Okay, Matthew Flavelle is my father who dropped his rights in 2022, and Roselou Flavelle is my stepmom, who doesn't exist to me anymore because I'm about to tell you why in a couple minutes. But I need to expose them because the truth behind all their schemes and lies, and I deserve justice for me and my siblings. They pretend to be good people, and I hesitate to reveal the truth. They hand $20,000, lands, and vehicles out to people. And my question, how are they getting their money? Now, my answer is I don't know. But one of my claims are he's a NASA engineer. He's a NASA engineer. But in reality, he's a computer programmer. Fun fact, he lost his job by pretending to be an expert witness in somebody else's trial. Second claim, I heard that he has a 20K pension. Nobody in the United States, from what I heard, gets a 20K pension, especially from NASA. I heard from another one of my friends in the Philippines who lives closely to Roselou, because they're currently in the Philippines right now, told me they had 4 kids. Now, what's crazy was that she had 4 kids in America. You can guess what happened to them, and I'm one of them. So, anyways, continuing on, and their oldest kid, who was 5 years old, was into trauma because he was scolded by Roselou. They say they don't know how he was punished, but I think I have a great idea what happened, and this is where I tell my story on why both of them are a bad person. Back in 2017, when I was 8, my sister was 7, I met Roselou for the first time. My dad, Matthew, met her on Plenty of Fish, not surprising. At the time, we were dirt broke. We were living in a small apartment. My dad had to sleep in our bedroom. Brothers slept in the big bedroom. It was a whole mess, but I can't say much. That's how life works, economy. At first, she was nice and sweet, but that changed when we moved to a new house in Titusville, in Florida, where I was 12. Yeah, 12. And during that time of being with her, it was hell. Me and my brothers and sister were starved. She starved my brother's animals, a bald python and a bearded dragon. And after that, she locked me and my sister in a room, boarded up the doors, no bed for sleeping on. We had to sleep on the hard ground and couldn't use the bathroom like a decent human being. She made us go in the closet. So we only had a wardrobe and the floor. I made my sister sleep on the wardrobe, and I slept on a nasty floor just so my sister didn't have to sleep with the bugs. And the window was our only hope. That was our only sunlight. I saw the neighbor's kids outside playing one day and tried to ask them to call the police. It never worked. After 2 weeks of no food and water, she let us out and only fed me, but not my sister. If there was a time machine, I would rather let my sister eat, not me. But not my... After that incident, she kept beating me and my sister. She kept trying to starve my brother. we do a simple mistake, she'll beat us like we're some cockroach. And if we cry when we're getting beat, she'll add on to the number of beatings. And we will bleed. She'll beat us with dog leashes, belts, chains, wooden planks, sticks. She would eventually kick us on our sides and torture us the best she can. One so sweet was now the devil. I strive for justice, and that's why I'm on here telling the truth. I'm here telling the world about this because it needs to be heard. No one understands the pain. Everybody looks at them like they're heroes, like they're some paparazzi, like they're some celebrity. But they need to know the truth. Not every person who has fame is a good person. Now it's my turn to speak, Roselou Fediment, Warren Flavel, and Matthew Peter Flavel. My life is difficult enough. I almost killed myself at 12 years by strangulation because it got to a point. I used my dad's workout pull-up bar in the garage. No one knows. That's when my severe depression and PTSD came along. I was also forced to dance on TikTok for her money and views, knowing I was at the hospital 2 days after my surgery. She made me dance on TikTok knowing I couldn't stand. The only thing she cared about was money and fame. I know in my heart that one day her life will come to an end of downfall and hate. She sexually abused me by going in the shower with me and my sister, saying we didn't know how to shower even though I was 13 and she was 12. These are true events. Please spread my story and spread awareness of child abuse. Another thing is, which is a real thing, this was the last day before I left the home and I went to foster care. On July 9th, 2022, at 23:20 hours, the police responded. The defendant committed the crime of child abuse on you-know-who. This was the last incident between me and her. This was one that was the breaking point, and she called the police. She finally got arrested. After all these years of trauma and abuse, she finally got arrested. Wonder why. But this was the last incident recorded. On July 9th, 2022, I said it again, because I messed it up last time. On the date and time, the defendant committed the crime of child abuse on me, Caitlin. The defendant entered the kitchen of, and attacked the victim while she was washing dishes. The defendant first kicked the victim on the side. The defendant then struck the victim multiple times in her head, back, and chest before the victim fell to the kitchen floor. While the victim was on the kitchen floor, the defendant kicked the victim again in her right leg. The victim crawled away from the defendant to stop being hit. The defendant continued her assault and started yelling at the victim while she was still on the kitchen floor. The defendant walked over to the victim and stood over her. The defendant stomped on the victim's chest with her right leg and then walked back over to the kitchen counter. While back at the kitchen counter, the defendant picked up a metal rice cooker pan and maliciously threw it and hit the victim in her right leg against her will. As the defendant was ending her assault on the victim, the defendant kicked the victim for a third time while she was on the ground leaving the kitchen. There was no observable signs of the injury. And the victim while investigating this incident. It was caught and confirmed by home security footage. The defendant was later located at a secondary location due to having her fled the residence before law enforcement arrived. The defendant also admitted post-Miranda to battering the victim, but not to the extent she actually did. So, this is where I tell you guys, please spread awareness about child abuse. And remember, there's always going to be faith out there and somebody helping you. And if anyone is struggling out there, just keep going. There will be a way to rescue you. But that's all I have to say. They're bad people. That was one of the evidences, but she was charged 3rd degree felony level child abuse. But yeah, see you guys. I hope my story changes and hope it gets out there and spread awareness, because I really want everyone to know what this person has done to me, and she just ruined my life constantly. See ya.